dark blue woolen scarf that, when I bury my face in it, still smells of her. I disposed of such items as the milk carton eventually. Well, of course I did. There was never any serious danger that I would descend into some kind of Dickensian preservation mania. The books were returned to their correct position on the shelves. I tipped away the water and washed the invisible prints of Jessica's lips and fingers from the tumbler. It took about half a minute and meant nothing immediately afterward. I noted how the glass shone and sparkled as I replaced it with its fellows on the top shelf of the cupboard above the draining board. It was, after all, only a glass. Tomorrow I would be unable to identify which one of that set of 6 had contained the last drink my wife had enjoyed in her own home. In fact, after the very early and most intensely anguished days, I became reasonably good at clearing and sorting and dealing with things of this kind as soon as they appeared, albeit sometimes by gritting my teeth or through little bursts of sobbing conduits, carrying away the overflow of continual grief. The problem was that it never seemed quite to end. Months after Jessica's death, I was still having to cope with less frequent but no less unexpected reminders of her life and her death. Some of them came from outside the house, brought by the regular postman, a young man with shiny spiked hair and a brick-red complexion, who continued to whistle his way up our front path every morning, as if in some strange way the world had not stopped turning. He brought letters addressed to Jessica, that had important things to say about her mobile phone or her library books, or which bulbs she might like to order for planting in the autumn, or the amount of credit she had on her British Home Stores card, or the fact that she had come so close to winning £80,000 in some magazine draw that the act of returning the enclosed slip and ordering a year's subscription to the magazine in question was little more than a tedious formality. I answered the ones I needed to, and tossed the rest. 1 or 2 were innocently cheerful communications from friends or acquaintances from the past, who knew nothing of what had happened to Jessica. I replied with as much brevity as politeness would allow, and tried to spend as little time as possible looking at the letters of condolence that followed. One summer morning, 6 months to the day after I had leaned down to kiss my wife's cold lips for the last time, a letter with a Gloucester postmark dropped onto the front mat. It turned out to be from one of Jessica's oldest friends, but it was not for her. It was addressed to me. Dear David, I do hope you remember who I am, now that so many people in the church know who you are, and I hope you won't mind ploughing through what is probably going to be quite a long letter. My married name, I'm separated from my husband now, is Angela Stedman, but when we knew each other, it was Angela Brooke. That's what I've gone back to calling myself now that I'm on my own again. I was in the same youth group as you many years ago, when we were all going to St. Mark's, so I'm in my latish 30s now, as I suppose you must be. I used to go around with your Jessica, who was my closest friend all through school, and a biggish girl with frizzy hair called Laura Pavey. I was sort of blonde with high cheekbones and a goofy smile, and enjoyed wearing bright jumpers in the winter, and was a bit bossy and talked too much. Is that enough for you to identify me by? It's enough for most people. The bossy bit usually rings a bell. We only knew each other for a relatively short time after you started going out with Jessica, but we actually did quite a few things together. Decent coffee at Laura's parents' lovely house round the corner in Clifton Road after the group, to get rid of the taste of that thin, rank church coffee. Quite a lot of Saturday mornings at Wilson's, the cafe at the top of the steps opposite the station, where everyone got together to find out if there were going to be any parties they could crash. 2 coffees between 5 or 6 of us, if we were lucky. It's just come to me that we all went on a church weekend together once as well, some school or something down in the south, I think it was. Coming back now. All very happy memories for me. Anyway, as you know, apart from Christmas cards, Jessica and I pretty well lost touch with each other over the years. But I was very fond of my friend, and I never forgot her. I always told